something, and then you have to do something, whatever you do. Okay, what else? The chat is open as be already used. Feel free to use it, but I can't guarantee I'll see it. I am actually pretty nervous, which is hilarious because most of you know my main line of work is around abortion and after abortion coaching. I teach workshops all the time and I never get nervous at all. So like that, I'm like, I could talk about that all day. Just put me in front of people and I'll have an amazing workshop. And today I was like, oh, I'm so nervous. I'm talking about just regular life, which is funny because a few of the people here on the call are just in my general life coaching group. But it's funny. You can probably hear it in my voice a little. Those of you who know me, like there's like a little nervous twinge. So use the chat, but I'm not all that like savvy, obviously. Like this is my workshop, so I may miss your messages, but you can chat with each other or I'll stop and read. Like I said, my main line of work is around post-abortion, like mental health and recovery and like thriving, because that was my experience. But I do some general life coaching too. I have invested like loads of time and money and love into my brain, which makes me totally capable of hopping on and teaching a workshop, even if my notes disappear. So that's really fun. I'm sure everyone will gather something valuable. I don't know what it will be. It'll be something different for everyone. My techie skills here, I am going to do some screen sharing. They might not be all that smooth. Just bear with me. I will send the replay after. This workshop originated the last few years. I have done a workshop, a vision board workshop based around feng shui. There's a recording of it somewhere. Some of you have been to it. That's a really fun workshop. I was not planning on doing that this year, but we were in our group, general group life coaching call, and we kind of just said, like, anyone want to pick a word for the year, super casual. And what evolved after that was pretty much the foundation of this workshop. And I was like, oh, this is too cool not to share. Like, we need to share this with more people. So this was so last minute. Threw it together out of that fun call we had. I think Julia was the only one on that call. But that's how this evolved. It just got tossed together at the last minute from all these like aha fun moments. So I'm super excited to share with you. I think that's it. Sue, again, like I can't say enough, super casual, just unmute if like you can't hear me or the screen's not working or you have a dying question you want to ask. Dying might not be the right word, burning question you want to ask. And I don't see it in the chat, just unmute. I really like, this is going to be casual and then we'll have time afterwards to chat. I will probably not send out the chat portion in the recording because I like that space to feel a little more confidential for the people who are here live. Like if you want some coaching on something or you have a question, I do like to sort of reserve some more private, like for the people who are here. So I won't send that part out in the recording. If you have something you want to ask about after the workshop that you don't want like in the recording to the world. Okay, I think that's it. Anybody have questions before I share my screen?
I had one question. You were talking about this amazing podcast when I first logged on. What was the name of the podcast?
That's so good. So Julia said to me, there's a podcast called what the heck is the podcast called? The Life Coach School?
It's called the Life Coach School.
Yeah, it's Brooke Castillo's podcast, Brooke with an E and Castillo. So it's called the Life Coach School. There are now well over 300, or is there 400 episodes now? Something insane. But Julia said to me, go back. At the time, there were maybe 100 and something. She said to me, go back, listen to the first 5 episodes. Don't decide anything until you're done listening to the first 5. And I was like 10 minutes into one and I was done. I was like, that's it. My life just changed. I'm never going to be the same. This woman is who I need to follow forever. And I'm still following her. So I joined her program. Then I joined her certification program. And now I'm a coach through her school. But that's the podcast. Good question. So if you go back, you can follow Julia's advice. Go back to the first one. She has changed a lot, obviously. She has grown like tremendously, like kind of insane tremendously. So she, I don't know, V, do you agree? Like, or Anka, or I don't know, whoever.
Yeah, she takes her own advice. She does her own work. So of course she's gonna be growing. Yeah.
But the first 5 episodes, you're still like, you go back and listen, you're like, wow, like a lot has changed, but not a lot has changed. It's the foundation of her work is all the same. Yes. Can somebody throw her name in the chat, V or Julia? That'd be great. The Life Coach School, Brooke Castilla. There you go. Okay. Any other questions? I do talk fast, obviously, but probably even faster when I'm nervous. So you can also just slow me down. All right, so here's what I did. A couple of you were like, Post-its, I'm in. And then I only made 2 Post-its because these were like my presentation Post-its of the things I was gonna say that weren't written. And then I was like, screw that. I'm just gonna say whatever I want. So just gonna toss those to the side. But I did write out this workshop. And what I decided to do was just take pictures. And I'm going to share my screen with you so that you don't have to like ferociously write notes. You can see what I wrote in my own notes. And you can, I'm going to share a link in the email after so you can just look back at them. So take notes as you want, but I'm literally going to share my own notes with you. This is actually pretty funny and a sign of my growth because when I get excited, I write really fast and really messy. Even my not messy handwriting is messy. And I hate when people see my handwriting. Of course, sort of like I used to hate when people hear my voice. Now I'm like, screw it. So you might not even be able to read it all. It's super messy, but that's what you're going to get. I love those moments where you're like, wow, I have grown so much. Like I would have even just last year been like, I'm going to teach a workshop and I should make slides and I should know exactly what I'm going to say. And it should all look pretty and they should think I'm professional. Now I'm just like, I think I have something that might be useful to you. Would you like it? So that's what you're going to get. All right. I'm even just literally sharing that pictures from my photo, like iPhoto. So I think the best way to do it is hit share screen. I can see V and Stephanie Robbins. So tell me if you can see my screen, or Julia. Yeah, okay. Then I think this looks a little here. I'm just going to assume no one else is coming in or they can watch the replay. I think this will look a little better if there. Okay. All right. So when we enter a workshop about a coming year, a lot of us are like, I want to make next year better than last year. How do I keep getting better? This is so my MO. Like I want to grow, I want to expand, I want to improve. But at the same time, like we have to come to this place where we realize there is no better, which is why better is in quotes. And this is infuriating. And most of us hear it and don't want to listen or assume, well, that's not for me. It actually will be better when I get there. And it's okay. It's just a journey. Like it's okay if you believe that there is better than here. they're more money, they're a relationship, they're a new job, whatever. It's okay if you believe that, and you will probably realize at some point there is not better. So we're not really here to make the year better. And I want to encourage us to accept, like, even just a shred of possibility that nothing actually went wrong, even though 2020 and 2021 were pretty much a shit show, like globally, right? It's like kind of messy, brings up a lot of stuff for people personally. Our physical health is under threat, our mental health is under threat, or like it's messy. Spiritually, we're all like, what the hell is going on? Sorry if there's anyone super Christian here. But that doesn't mean anything's gone wrong. Just because it was hard, it doesn't mean anything's gone wrong, because this year that just closed, you were human. And next year, you're going to be human too. Like, not all that. I just realized my computer's not plugged in, which could cause a problem. In the end, as Brooke would tell us, and I also resisted for a very long time, life is 50-50. You're gonna get 50% great and 50% shit. Like, you're gonna be mad in the middle of a day, and then you're gonna be like loving your kids so hard your like heart is exploding out of your body. Like, that's just the experience of being human. So better is not more good necessarily. Better is just more acceptance of what is, more flow, more willingness to move through the emotions, more okayness with the 50-50. So in my little post-it notes that I threw away, I said, if that's too frustrating, now might be a good time to slip out. Because it's just, I'm not going to be the kind of coach who's like, let's make everything better. I am, but only because we're just going to accept our humanity even more than we ever have before. And that's going to make the year feel really good. And things do get better when you accept your humanity and your reality, but it's not better the way you think it is. All right, next slide. Also, there's this like, what does being human mean? I think being human means experiencing something, an illness, accident, promotion, a party, a workshop, feeling something. Now, if we follow Brooke, we know we feel something because we have a thought about it. So experiencing something, feeling something, and then repeating. Like all day long, every day, we're just like experiencing something, thinking something, feeling something, and repeating. But what most of us do that makes our life not better, makes our life frustrating, is that we experience something, then we feel something, and then if it's not in the positive, we run. We're like, let me run away from this feeling. I'm mad, so what can I change to not feel mad? I'm disappointed. What can I change to not feel disappointed? And we just spend so much of our time like running from being human, running from what's happening, trying to change it so that we feel better. So being human is just like, and then of course in the what most of us do, and then we just keep repeating. And so we're resisting being human. We're resisting the whole picture. And so the goal of, I hope, this workshop and just being more human this year is to let yourself experience something, let yourself feel it, and then just be present. I know, so annoying. Like all these cliche things we've heard a million times, like be more present, stay in the now, like feel your feelings, but it's all true. And I hope maybe just like one little way I present it, you'll hear it differently. But the goal is to just allow ourselves to feel, because that's like ultimately what it is to be human. We're always either running from a feeling or we're running toward a feeling, right? Like, I want to make more money this year because I believe I will feel more relief. I don't want to make more money so I have more money. Like, money is just like there. I think that having it will make me feel more relief, will make me feel more secure. So we can get really clear about that. And it takes practice, it takes coaching, it takes all the things to get good at it, but we just want to be more human. All this said, I actually do have some like structure for you guys that's super fun. What does this say? Do you like my flashlight? There's no escaping being human, but we can set intentions as guiding light on the journey. And that's what this workshop is about. Like, we can't change being human. We can't really change the 50-50, but we can change what light is guiding us. And so I'm going to present to you next how I use, like, how I guide myself through the year, how I guide myself through a journey. And that was the life coaching call we were on, that Julia was in, and I forget anyone else here was in, where we said, like, let's pick a word for the year. I do this every year. But after we picked that word was when the rest of the workshop just kind of like exploded into me. So choosing a word is one of my favorite ways to set an intention. I like picking one word. Some of you here have done a why word workshop for me, with me. I believe, I can do that with you outside of this workshop, but I believe that we all have one, literally every single person here has one word that is their word. Mine is growth. Julia's is connection. Hope you don't mind me sharing. I forget who else is here, but like, we each have a word that's very personal to us. V did a workshop. She has a word. We have a word that kind of stays with us, A, forever, or B, for a very long time until we kind of outgrow to the next level. That's not even what we're going to talk about in this workshop. I also think that we can choose words for chapters of our life, like a project, an event, a year, right? So we're choosing a word for 2022 in this workshop. Okay, there we go. So don't overthink this. You can also come back and watch the replay, but allow yourself to start pondering, like, what do I want to feel this coming calendar year? What do I want to experience more of? What state of being do I want to access more of? What word, like, if you like, remember my cool little flashlight, like my flashlight, everybody. If you were guiding yourself with like the light of a word, what would it be? Like, if it were your tour guide, what would it be? So just jot down a few words. Some words I've had in the past are abundance. That's an obvious one for a lot of people. Space. Space was one of my favorite words. Receive was my word last year. Can be simple, can be love, can be connection. Growth is my why word. Everything I do is for the purpose of growing. This year, I'm debating whether or not to like go into backstory on this, and I think I'm not going to. But this year, I chose the word belief. This is the year I really want to keep guiding my attention back to believing in myself, believing in my business, believing in humanity, just belief. Like, as much as I know that belief is how we get where we want to go, it's really easy to like want to focus on actions. What can I do? How can I get there? And I really want to keep grounding myself back in my beliefs this year. So that's my word this year. When you so look at your words just for the purpose of the workshop, even if you don't think it's like the word, just circle the one that stands out to you, and you can go back and do this in a way that feels more timely for you. Throw your word on the top of whatever, or just throw it down. And then I'm going to unfold that paper in my pictures. It'll be so fancy. And then you'll see what came to me this year when I was working with that life coaching group was, wait a second. It isn't just a word. There's more underneath the word. And that's like kind of what matters even more. I'll teach you ways at the end, some of my favorite questions to be guided by this word at the top. But we have to remember there's like a whole kit and caboodle underneath that word. And that's what I realized and wanted to expand into this year. So kind of skip that middle part. And what I recognized is that my guiding word has these founding words. What are the words that lead me, that ground me, so I can get to belief? The things I decided this year were celebration. I'm really bad at celebrating my accomplishments. Even now, 40 something people registered for the workshop, and there's 15 here. So my little asshole brain wants to be like, oh, they just registered to make you feel good. They don't even want the content. They don't even care. You shouldn't be doing this. You should just hang up now. This is pointless. Like, that's like, I don't celebrate the fact that in 3 days, 41 people were like, we want to learn something from you. Like, that's a big deal. So I really suck at celebration, and I want to get better at that. So I know to maintain my belief, I've got to get better at celebrating. Or I don't have to if I don't want to, but I know that that will lead me to more belief. I also know that trust. When I trust, like this workshop, right? On Tuesday, I was like, I'm going to tell everyone I'm hosting a workshop. No plans. Literally, I didn't have any of these papers written. I was like, it'll be fine. And I just trusted that it would keep unfolding. The aha moments would come to me. If you follow my abortion work, I'm going to get super woo here. But I do believe that that abortion baby is part of what guides me. She's just like, here, do this, do that. Here's another idea. I'll give it to you. I don't necessarily believe in a God, but I believe in God's spirit universe. I trust myself. I trust the angels that I just pretend to believe in. I trust this spirit baby. I just like, trust for me has a lot to do with just like, I don't know. I don't know why I'm going to be guided, but I can trust that I am. I can surrender and believe that if this is happening, it's supposed to be happening. Doesn't mean I want it to be happening, but trust is going to be one of the things that keeps me in belief this year. My third word is gratitude. Similar to celebration, but I just want to pay more attention. There's so many good exercises like a gratitude journal, or there's a lot of like cliche gratitude things you can do, and they're awesome. But for me, I just want to pay more attention to those moments. Like when my kid comes to give me a hug and I kiss him on the top of his head and it's a little taller than it felt yesterday, and I just have that moment, like I want to pay attention to that, those moments of gratitude, that feeling of gratitude. One of my favorite moments of like being is I hate getting up to pee, and we only have one bathroom. It's downstairs, so super fun. I don't have to do it that often, but when I do, I walk downstairs and there's just like a light or two on and the house is super quiet. And I don't look at all the things I wish were different. Like I walk downstairs and I just have this moment where I love my house. And it's pretty consistent, just something about the middle of the night. During the day, I'm like, oh my God, people need to clean up after themselves. We never finished that project we started 3 years ago. We need a bigger house. We need a second bathroom. But something about the middle of the night, I have so much gratitude for my house. Maybe because everybody's sleeping and I'm glad that it's still standing and we're protected. I don't know. But I just want to pay more attention this year to those moments of gratitude because I think they're going to keep me in belief. Now, the middle is all the things, right? Like the middle is being human. Because yeah, gratitude's great, trust is great, celebration is great, belief is great, but I'm also still human. I can't just be in these states all year long. I have to accept all the things. So for me, this visual of there's these awesome things about being human, and there's this awesome place I want to get to in being human, this state of belief I want to live in more. And just this visual of like, there's everything in between. So when I'm in between and it's not pretty, I don't have to freak out. I can just look back at this and be like, oh yeah, it's not all pretty. Like, it's okay that I'm frustrated right now. It's okay that I just snapped at my kid, or a client can't afford to work with me, or whatever it is. Like, it's okay. All the not pretty stuff is okay too. I just have this structure, this foundation, to remember that I'm human. So I don't know if this is resonating with any of you, but it all makes sense to me. Okay, V is nodding, so I'm getting somewhere. So when I saw this, because I was on the workshop, I was with my clients, we picked a word, then I was like, wait a second, there's founding words. And then I looked at it and I was like, it's a volcano. I don't know why, like why a volcano? And I got so excited about it being a volcano. And then I started like thinking about it more and Googling, and I jumped on whatsyoursign.com, and I'll just read what it said. Actually, it's written here. Volcanoes remind us of the goals we aspire to reach, the journey to get there, and the value of the climb to the top. For me, like, there's so much power in this idea of the volcano, and that sometimes it does get hot and bubbly and messy and scary. But there's like something also so like mysterious and magical and beautiful. If you know like Hawaiian culture at all, you know the goddess of Pele is this volcanic, like the goddess of fire or something. See, you can Google it. I don't have any, that's all the details I have for you. But in this belief system, they believe that Pele helps us build character, right? Like there's trials and challenges. The volcano creates trials and challenges to the human race, with the expectation of providing strength and development, right? Like there's so much strength and growth in a volcano. Even the new, like, right, like the destruction creates this new foundation, this new land, this new, right? There's so much magic in the volcano that you can Google on your own and keep exploring, or not. Just like I said in every workshop thing I advertise, I'm like, come join me or not. It's up to you. But as soon as I started thinking more about it, I was like, yeah, this is why the volcano. And so I think for all of us who have New Year goals, I've never really been a fan of New Year resolutions so much, but I do set intentions, and I do like setting goals more and more as I grow, as I really grow my business, but personal goals too. I think we can have a tendency at the end of a year to get so excited about our big dreams for next year. And then we get to the end of the year and they feel unfulfilled and they feel like I failed again, or they feel like I didn't quite hit it. I could say a million things about this, but coming back to this analogy of the volcano and the being human and the character building, and even when it looks like not good, good things are happening. And that we can know that it's all a part of the process. And our job, if we're still here, is to keep going, just keep going. And then I was like, Pixar. So I Googled, this is where I stop share. I Googled because I was like, there's a Pixar short about this, and we're going to play it in the workshop. So I'm going to stop my share and I'm going to switch. Okay. All right, come on. Is it not the cutest? Oh, stop it. See, Robin got a tissue. I'm going to pretend that's because it's the cutest.
I got goosebumps.
Yeah. For me, the takeaways, and if you have others, please share. But like for me, the takeaways are like, and I just wrote them while I was watching just now, so I haven't thought this through. But he believed that his song was meant for someone, and he just kept believing and believing, and then he lost his belief, which is what we all do as we're building our lives. We lose belief. But by then, like, it was already taken hold. Like, we can't see what's working all the time. Like, we can't see what's being created, what's being born, what's coming to us all the time. But other people can see, right? Like, we could see as viewers what was happening. And that's why we surround ourselves with other people who can see for us, like coaches and friends and therapists and whoever. Like, other people can see what's working for us even when we can't. And just to remember what your light means for you. Whatever it means for you matters, and it means that for somebody else, something else for the world. So those are my takeaways. Sometimes it gets shitty along the way, and it's just meant to become something beautiful. Anyone else have a brilliant takeaway? No, nobody. There were a lot of nods. All right. Okay. So,
I'll share.
oh yeah, go.
It was really interesting. Like sometimes I feel like people really don't see me for who I am. And it was really interesting how you couldn't really see him, but he was still there. His presence was still vibrating and he was still there. And so I think when you're consistent and you keep on going, eventually the right people will see it.
Whew. Okay, that strikes me a ton as like in my world, and I don't know what you do out in the beautiful world, but for me as an entrepreneur in many different ways over the years, like that is belief, right? It's just like I'm still here even if it feels like people can't see me, and eventually the right people will see me, right? Eventually the right people will see me and we'll come together and we'll make something even more beautiful. But I love that takeaway. That's awesome. Thank you.
I have something, Amanda.
Yes, go.
I'm not crying, you're crying.
Right? Tell me about it.
Like Anna said, when we think, it's a pretty cute metaphor when you hit rock bottom and you lost hope,
yes.
And the best is yet to come, yes. And you know it. So that's believing that the best times are still yet to come.
Absolutely. Yes, all of that. And so it's being willing to grab your light, grab your word, and keep believing that even if you can't see it, it's there. It's coming. Just keep being the best you, the most human you can be. And it's gonna fall out. It's gonna come into place. So thank you for sharing that. Okay, let's see.
Excuse me.
Go ahead.
And to piggyback on some others, and for me, my word has been trust for a while. You know, trusting that what's supposed to happen is going to happen. And sometimes when we're in it and we don't see it, you know, others can see it. And I like when you touched on, you know, connection and our friends, what a big, you know, and connecting with people that are like-minded on a journey. And, you know, just like we're all here today, there's no coincidence that we're all here today, you know, with you. And anyway, good stuff. I love it. And thank you for your time today.
Oh my gosh, you're so welcome. I'm not done. But I totally agree with you. And I want to add even more to that. Surround yourself with people who can see you. And I'll call Julia out a little bit because I've been coaching with her much longer than anyone else, any of my other clients. And like, I'm just so amazed every time we see something new. Like I help her see something in herself. But what I want to say is that as soon as that happens, I see it in me. So it's like, if you're willing to see things in other people, you see them in yourself. And so it's never one-sided. Like, if you're willing to be the person seeing in others, you grow. If you're willing to show up and be seen, you grow. And that connection is cheesy again, but like, it's what we need more of in the world right now. I posted on my personal Facebook page this week. I was like, I feel like the musicians in the Titanic and shit's going down and there's no hope. Everything's falling apart. Everyone I know has COVID and whatever, just like all kinds of shit going on. And I'm just going to keep playing music because, and then somebody posted about that movie. What's it called? Don't Look Up. Something like that with Leonardo DiCaprio. I watched that too. But yeah, it's like, you know what? I don't know. I don't know what's happening next, but I'm just going to keep showing up, shining some light, trusting in something, even if I don't know what it is. So good stuff. All
Can I
right.
say something quickly?
Yeah, please.
So I'm getting so much confirmation because my word is actually visibility. And everyone's like mentioning being seen or not being seen. And it's been coming to me over the past couple of weeks. And, you know, as a feminist coach, like being seen, you know, is powerful and risky and all the things. And I was just reading Patriarchy Stress Disorder the other day about how, you know, like women put this sheath of invisibility over us and what that means. And, you know, I was somebody who, you know, was like fired for being a feminist professor, you know, like all these kinds of things. And yet, as a feminist coach, I need to be out there and, you know, be comfortable in seeing myself, right? And then being seen. So what you just said, Amanda, and what everyone is saying here, whenever you say something about being seen or not being seen, I'm like, oh, okay. Thanks for that confirmation. So thank you all for that confirmation is what I want to say.
Yes, I love it. Do you follow Danielle Cohen, Michelle? You should. I'll put her name in that thing. All about visibility and being seen. It's just like the most beautiful writing. So beautiful. She was actually she's a photographer too, a photographer and a coach. And she's done a lot of photography for the coaches we know too, but she's a really fun person to watch for visibility. And I put that book you mentioned, Patriarchy Stress Disorder, in the chat. Actually funny that you spoke up because my end notes say tell everyone, like, drop your social stuff in the chat too, so you can follow each other. And I wrote that because of you. I was like, people should follow Michelle if she comes. But Michelle's doing a fun, like, 12 days of say it.
Feminist miss. Feminist
Yeah.
miss. Yeah. My brain had a whole thing that was part of my visibility, you know,
Yes.
like when you show up as your full self, like it brings all the things. And it's
Yes.
all that you said in the middle part. Like it's all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And like sometimes your middle part scares people, like the hot lava. Like sometimes your middle part is terrifying. And people don't see it and know that it is part of the end game. And you have to believe that. Like when you're scaring the shit out of people, like you have to believe there's an end game. You're the only one who can do it. And you can hire other people to cheerlead you and believe it for you and borrow their belief. But like ultimately, like you got to believe that that messy stuff is part of the game. You just have to. Just have to go do it. All right, let me share my screen. If you do need to leave, go ahead. I will send out the replay. It's been almost an hour here, but I have a few more slides just to wrap up and give you some stuff to like grab onto that you can do with. There we go. Okay, so again, whatsyoursign.com. I just go places, and if it feels good, I run with it. But that said, when eruptions come, regeneration, growth, and renewal will follow. And what I kept seeing when I saw this volcano myself was, okay, there's these founding words. There's this word I want to get to. And when I allow all this to happen, the good stuff's just going to come bubbling out. And it's going to create all this regeneration and growth and renewal. So the question I wrote here is, what's coming for or from you when you let nature be nature? You let you be you. You let the good stuff and the bad stuff happen. Like you just let it do its thing. You just trust the volcano, even though you're scared. What comes up from you and what comes up for you? And when I see these like bubbling lava, you know, bits at the top, like the things I want to create that are more tangible in the world, like they're going to come bubbling out the top when I allow myself to be as fully human as I can be. So that's how I see it. Some ways to access our intentional word or our foundational word. These are just some questions I love. So what would belief do? What would trust do? What would growth do? Just kind of drop your words and ask yourself these questions. If I felt belief, what would I do? If I felt trust, what would I do? I think it's also important to know where you can access these things in your body. One of the things I loved about sharing the video is that we need to experience things in lots of ways to grab them. We need the audio, we need the visual, we need the like felt sense, we need the words. Like we need to access this stuff from all kinds of places to embody it and to integrate it. So I love that question, where can I access belief in my body? As soon as I asked myself that question right now, I felt it in my feet. Like my feet were just boom, so grounded, so steady, just like tingling almost, like we're here, we gotcha. So knowing that, like, okay, I can't access belief with my words right now, but I can pay attention to my feet, because I know from learning that my feet have some kind of connection to my belief. So you can do that with all your words, like trust for me, all in my heart. So like, how can I access? So pay attention to these mind-body connections. Notice them. Where does this stuff live in your body that you can learn from? And also we talked about this a little, like, who are my who are my cheerleaders? And I say cheerleaders because it's not always cheery, right? Like, who are the people who are willing to see me with me? Who are the people who are willing to not always agree with me? I asked my kids, my teenagers were in the room when I was writing this. And I said, what do you call the people who, maybe one of you has an answer. You tell them something and they just agree with you. Like, life is so unfair. And then they're like, yeah, life is so unfair. And my first daughter goes, rude? You call them rude? I was like, yeah, that's true, but not what I meant. And my second daughter said, politicians? And I was like, nope, that's not what I meant either. But it was pretty funny. Like, it's great to surround yourself with friends, but make sure your friends aren't just agreeing with you. Like, yeah, life does suck. You should leave him, or you should, whatever. I don't know why that example came to me, but anything, like, you should be mad. Like, you should sell your house and get out of that neighborhood. Whatever the thing is, like, friends are awesome, but you need cheerleaders who are also going to be like real with you and hold that flashlight. Like, my life surrounded by coaches is kind of insane because everyone around me is willing to, like, they want me to grow as much as I want me to grow. And so they're not always agreeing with my bullshit. They're not always cheering me on the way we think we want to be cheered on. So definitely surround yourself with cheerleaders, and you definitely want the friends who are like, yeah, that sucks. We should just have a drink. There's nothing wrong with those friends, but just make sure you're with enough other people who are also like, yeah, we could have a drink, or we could, like, think about what are you making that mean? What's at the heart of that? How do you want to show up? Who do you want to be? So it's a balance. And then you want to plan for the heat, right? You want to plan for the lava, not the good lava. You want to plan for the frustration, for the grief, for the disappointment, for the fear. Like, now when we all feel good and we're excited about this, get some questions and sayings together that you can use when you're just super pissed. You want to feel that in your body too. You want to let that move through you. And some of the ways you can do that are just like, of course I feel disappointed. I was really hoping that whatever, 100 people would show up to the workshop. Actually, I was only hoping for 10. So you guys are awesome. Like, 5 extra of you showed up. But of course I feel disappointed, instead of, you shouldn't feel disappointed, or why do you feel disappointed, or what's wrong with you for feeling disappointed? Like, you should be over that fear by now. Instead of that, just this: of course I feel fear. Of course I feel grief. Those 2 words, of course, they'll change everything. Another one is, what is this disappointment here to show me? Right? With disappointment, like, obviously there was something else we wanted instead. And now we know even more that we want it, and that it was important to us. What is this fear here to show me? Sometimes fear is here to show us, don't do that, it's not safe. But sometimes fear is here to show us, like, you know what? You're on the right track. It feels scary because you've never done it, but that doesn't mean you're in danger. So you have to, like, learn to be in relationship with your emotions. So that can be a good question. Sometimes oh shoot, I forgot to do something I was supposed to do. My daughter's texting me. I might run and do it after I do this quick. Another one is, this is happening. And I love, this is happening right now. Because sometimes we think this is happening, it's never going to end, I'm in trouble. But this is happening right now. And right now is enough for our brain to be like, oh, okay, it's happening right now. I don't like it, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen forever. All right. This is so, see, this is the kind of professional I am. I need to go do one thing and come right back. I'm going to stop share. It'll take me 2 seconds, but you guys can chat if you want to chat.
When she said this is happening right now, it reminded me of the video. That stuff was happening, but the first volcano couldn't see it. It's really cool.
To add to that, I think that something stood out to me about the video about timing and like the timing of our life. Sometimes it's not what we want, or it's not what's happening for everybody else, but it doesn't mean that's not happening the way it's supposed to. You
guys are the best. I ran away for 1 second and you didn't just like sit here awkwardly. My life is so good. All right, let's try again. Okay. So right now, super important. Then remember, one of my words was celebration. You also want to celebrate the good. You want to celebrate when you do feel trust, when you do feel gratitude, when you do feel joy. I think something you can say to yourself in those moments is like, this is who I am. Right? This joy is not, this is who I am. I'm a person who experiences this kind of joy. I'm a person who experiences this kind of love. This is who I am. Just to remind yourself, like, when the good is good, remind yourself, like, that's who you are. I love, like, thank you, more please. Whether it's to God or to universe or to yourself, I don't even care. Like, but just like, thank you, more please. We're like, most of us feminist, like, you know, patriarchal culture especially, it's like, don't ask for more, and at the same time strive for more because you're not enough. But like, a lot of us, especially women, are afraid to ask for more because we've been told to stay small so much of our lives. So even me, when I say more please, I'm like, oh, am I allowed to say that? Like, am I allowed to ask for more? Am I allowed to want more? But practicing that, just like, thank you, more please. I think it can be really helpful. Another thing is evaluate. Like, why do I feel so good? What led me here? What did I do to get to this joy? What did I think to get to this joy? Don't just ignore when the good stuff happens. Part of the celebration is like, I'm the one who created this awesome thing that's happening. I know, does that mean I'm the one who created the terrible thing that's happening too? Not a discussion we're going to get into right now. But like, you can also evaluate the not so good. What did I do to get here? And here doesn't mean like to get to this car accident. It just means to get to this state I'm in, having had an accident, right? So this is, again, this feels like a much bigger discussion, but you can always do evaluation and be aware of like, what led you here? My work is in abortion, right? Like, so many of my clients, some of them, an abortion is just a procedure. Some of them feel terrible after, some of them feel empowered. The procedure is the same, but what led them to feeling what they're feeling after the abortion? What led them to feeling amazing? I felt terrible after mine. Now I feel great. What were the differences? What got me to feeling terrible right away? What got me to feeling great now? Just being willing to look back and evaluate. And also, this one might surprise you, right? This too shall pass. And we're in the good section, right? When I figured this out, that this too shall pass was not just something I say in the bad times, right? Because like when you're having a rough day and you're like, this too shall pass, it's gonna get better. Sometimes that's good, but the truth is those good feelings are gonna pass too. And when I started noticing that, I was like, oh my God, everything feels so, I have 3 kids. So it's not very common that all 3 of them are like level. It's always like one goes down and another one goes up. And like, it's just like, it's like that game of Bop It or whatever. But sometimes everybody's good. And I'm just appreciate it. And I remind myself this too shall pass, not in a doomsday way, but more in a like, I'm grateful for this moment and I know it's special and it's not forever and nothing has gone wrong if one of the kids falls apart in 5 minutes. It's okay. So that seems like to some people a funny one to add to celebrating the good, but it's so important to remind yourself it's so normal that you're just up and down and all over the place. I actually think that's the last. There's one more that just says, let's go get them. Let's go be human intentionally, right? And that's what, oh, and Michelle's here too. Some of you have been watching my book launch. You should all buy my book, even if you haven't had abortions. This is so good. I think it was a book launch post. Anyway, she reflected back on something I said about how what I said was like gentle and badass. And I was like, damn, that's me. I'm like softly badass, which is where that email heading came from in your workshops. It was like this, go be intentionally, softly badass. All right, so I'm going to stop share. I'm actually going to stop record too. And then